Okay, so I'm Dr. Olumide Adisa, a Senior Research Fellow at the University of Suffolk. I'm also a co-investigator on the Vision Consortium at City St. George's University. I'm also a member of the National Advisory Council for IDA. I think that's a really good question. Thank you very much. I think one thing, the best way to think about it is to say, typically we would look at problems from the individual parts and to try to understand the problem, a complex problem. Whereas from a systems approach, it's really saying, can we look at the big picture? Can we look at all of the components together, really paying attention to interconnections and interdependencies? Like I said, first and foremost, start from where you are, because I think it's important to celebrate what you've done well and what has been working in whatever system that may be in. But I think drawing on systems approaches, I think there are four key things that I could suggest. The first really is to look at systems leadership. What systems leadership is in place, which has helped to drive forward some of those change activities within the organization. The second bit as well is to really look at the complexity, which I know that is within every context. And I think it's about understanding how complexity may have influenced some of the outcomes that have come about or emerged from that intervention or action. And I think the third bit really is to really think about the blueprint for continuity and change. This is very important because it means that we're not very short-termism, but we're building for long-term change. And I think for organizations, that's really important to see what they're doing across the system, but also understanding that it needs to also be able to have a long-term impact as well. I think the advice I would give is to be braver around their responses and to really think about the change that from a societal level. So, not obviously every intervention you do or activity you do does have ripple effects on other systems. So I think the important thing really is to really think about it from that systems change lens, but more importantly to always center the survivor as well, so having a survivor-centered lens. My vision for me is to organizations to really embrace what we might call an all of society impact measurement framework, so that they see their work as part and parcel of this collective evidence base that is needed, I think, for this particular area of work. Yeah, I think one of the gaps we've identified is the need to look at what is missing in the system in terms of evidence base, but also being able to sweep in diverse perspectives on what it means to change and what that change could look like for different people. And I think the handbook, the IDA handbook, has really helped to set out good practice in relation to what organizations, regardless of size and regardless of what your staff or employee profile could look like, in relation to how you could adapt it to your own context. So the IDA handbook is a really good example of a potential for systemic change because it can be adapted and applied across different settings.